Hey everybody, welcome to a new edition of Box Seats. Today's Thursday. I'm your host, Frank Holder. It's been a different week, so let me give you guys a different introduction, right? That's talent, that's comedian. These guys have been in the comedy game for a very long time. They've been in comedy films, film festivals, film commercials, everything pertaining to the world of comedy, and now they are in sports. And since you guys are now the comics who talk sports, I want to jump in and just first of all ask you guys, how was your inauguration week? How's everything going this week? Because we've been in and out this week. We had Martin Luther King Day this week, and then of course inauguration. So we didn't decide to go up against that. Apologize, but Talent and Fig, how you guys doing today?
Yeah, man, I'm still celebrating, Frank. But for the first time in a long time, I've been drinking in the daylight.
Somebody say Tal's starting to show off with a lie. So Fig, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm still celebrating too, boy. We got Kamala in the house, B.
Yeah.
Everybody worried about Joe. Joe, listen, I'm not worried about Joe. We got Kamala in the house. And we know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah. Let's get ready to get this show started. Got an interesting COVID report today. The first off is that the Memphis Grizzlies have canceled the next 3 games due to COVID, and the NBA is now calling off 6 straight games for the Washington Wizards. So there's a lot going on in the NBA. And then the big thing is that the NBA started this morning that they're about to enforce a no-hug rule that's getting ready to, how the players come out in half court,
right,
and start giving each other dap, or after the game they do all that. The NBA is going to enforce that. Now, my thing to you is, Talent, I'm going to ask you this, because you can explain to me. My thing is, if they can't do the dap that they do at the end of the game, why are they playing the game, bro? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, that's not really. I mean, that's not a deal breaker. That's not. I mean, that's good sportsmanship. Is why they implemented that into the game, the whole dap at the end of the game thing. That's just good sport. No matter win, lose, or draw, you're supposed to respect the opponent. Now, I just want to see how deep this rule go. Like, can I hug somebody I came with? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you can't hug your own teammates?
Yeah.
What if you got to argue? Somebody turn the ball over or make a bad play, and you got to argue 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Now that changes things.
Yeah, it really does. But my thing is this: if you can't dap up the next player, everything else, what's the point? You're going to touch the players. It's like the NBA must be thinking that. Tell me I'm wrong, Fig, but the NBA must be thinking that the NBA players don't have contact. They're not physically next to each other. I don't get it. I don't get the no dap rule. I don't get all that.
Maybe man, it doesn't make no sense at all, man. Because listen, you in the game, you fouling each other, you playing defense, you all on top of each other. Now all of a sudden at the end of the game, you can't give a dude a pound, show good sportsmanship. That's silly. At the end of the day, man, that is really silly.
If you're a big man, you play down low, you humping each other. It's crazy.
See. So now my next question to you guys is should the NBA push back the games? It's like, Talent, should they do that? So if they're going to start enforcing this, and then they're pushing off 6 games with the Washington Wizards, and they're getting ready to push back a couple of other games for a couple of other teams, should the NBA just push back the season? Because it's getting ridiculous now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if you do it in the grand scheme of things, this is how we got to look at it. I think we're looking at it case by case because we're getting these news briefings case by case. But I think if you look at it from the grand old spectrum, you count how many teams and how many games are actually going on a regular basis. Like I was looking at my schedule the other day because I wanted to watch a few games, see who was playing. And when you look at that schedule, how many teams play every day in all these different hours, in the grand scheme of things, if you canceling 3 games here, 4 games here, I think this is a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things. Now, if you break it down individually to a team, it's a lot to them as an individual team. As a league, it's like a drop in the bucket, given the situation of the times we're in right now. Once you made that decision to play in COVID season, you're going to get a COVID season.
Yeah, it absolutely sucks. That's what I think. What you think, Vic?
Man, I'm just thinking like, when they cancel a game, are they going to cancel the game period? Like, it's a 72 game season. Does that mean that certain teams are going to play 65 games and then some teams are going to play 72, or they're going to make it even for everybody because, you know, if you take some of the teams and they only play 65 games, you got another team that plays 72, then the team that plays 65 is going to have an unfair advantage. So when you say they're canceling the games, are they going to reschedule the games? What I think ultimately is the NBA needs to go back to a bubble situation, because here's the thing. When you have something that works, why break it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? Talent, you can't dispute what he said, everything else, but I'm gonna throw this out there to you guys, both of you guys, right? The problem I think is gonna happen. Let's look at Washington Wizards, for example, right? They got the next 6-7 games canceled, right? When they release the next half of the schedule of the next half of the games, they're gonna play more back-to-backs than anybody, because as you know, the NBA has not yet released the second half of the NBA schedule. So it's kind of unfair that Russell Westbrook just get in there, Bradley Beal, those guys are just, you know, they still ball, they try to figure their thing out. Isn't that like kind of like an unfair advantage to those guys? Whereas other teams are going to have a day off here and there. They're not going to have no days off. They're just not going to. And
no, but I think you can't call it unfair, Frank, because when you sat down, you got to realize the players have a union, right? They have a player association. And what happens is when you sit down and make a big decision like this, the league, remember that the collective bargain is in effect. So these decisions to play or not play, knowing all these ramifications and, you know, consequences, was out there. You know what I mean? So you agreed to play this, knowing that some of the consequences may have been cancel games. So going forward, once you say, break, let's go, let's play the season, during COVID, and these things come up, you can't sit back and go, it wasn't fair. You know what I mean? You picked your own destiny. In other words, it ain't like this is a unionless situation where they threw these players out there. Then all these things that happen. Oh, it's so unfair. No, they sat at the same table and said, we'd rather play and make this money, or try to at least, than to sit back and watch COVID unfold.
What's your response to that, Fig?
Man, first thing I want to know is, how did you let talent get by with using these words, man? I thought this was a family show. What do you mean by ramifications? What does that even mean?
What does that do to a family, though? A better question.
I have to talk to the Ram. Man, listen. I don't know what these guys, you know, what deal they made with the NBA as far as having this season without the bubble type situation. They decided that they was going to put it on the line, and they were going to take chances. Here's the result of you taking chances, because when you was in a bubble, when you was down in Florida and you was in a bubble, no positive COVID cases came up. Now, all of a sudden, the COVID cases came up. These are the consequences of your decisions. You have to abide by them, whether it's fair or not fair, whether you get slighted or not. You have to just adjust, and you have to deal with it because you signed up for it.
Okay, all right. I can't disagree with that. I do think that whether we agree whether it's fair or unfair, it does put an unfair advantage. I mean, you both are right about saying, you know, what you guys said. I just think it puts an unfair advantage to some teams versus others overall. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. They ultimately, the players decide they want to get paid. You know what I mean? They want to get paid, and whether it's fair to them or not, they want to decide to get paid. And at the end of the result, they say, hey, you know, payment is a whole lot more, you know, right now equal to us than trying to win the NBA championship. So that is that. Let's talk about the NBA.
Now, here's another thing, Frank, that you didn't say. What happens if a team only gets to play a certain amount of games? Do they get paid for the games that they don't play?
I didn't even think of that. That's why I didn't say it. I didn't think of that. That's a good one.
That's kind of crazy. Like, I don't get it. And here's the thing.
I think they're gonna make sure everybody plays those games, though, because you're right. That's money. That's a lot of money.
You know what's gonna be crazy? If a team like the Lakers don't get to play, like maybe they only play 63 games in a 72 game season because they didn't have enough players to put on the court. Now, when it comes to the playoff and the finals, they had a whole bunch of rest.
Yeah, and also it might affect playoff seeding too. And that's why I think they're gonna play those games. They're gonna play they're gonna make sure everybody before they go to the playoffs, everybody plays the equal amount of games. They would have to because it affects playoff seeding. So yeah, I can't see them not doing that. Anyway, let's talk about the Nets. Last night, the Nets they finally debuted their big three, and they lost the game. So
to who? Say to who? Because it's really important to who they lost to.
Okay, I'll let you all say it. You know, you get to it. You get to the floor. You know, they did debut their big three. They did lose, and it was to Cleveland, which is pretty hilarious all by itself. I guess the thing I want to ask you, Talent, start out with you because we're gonna talk about this for a few minutes. Let's start out for you. Is what was your thoughts after the big three finally debuted and they lost? What was your thoughts? Your first immediate thoughts?
Well, I mean, if you watch the game, it was very obvious that they, out of respect for each other, a lot of times they didn't know who to take the shot, especially when it was an important shot. As it got down to the wire, I watched them. They tried to, out of respect for each other, like kind of like fluctuate amongst themselves. Like, okay, you take this one. This is the end of regulation. You got this one. It's the end of first overtime. You take this. So they're trying to be respectful court-wise, which got in the way of winning, actually. If they just had the killer instinct that they normally would play with as individuals, they would have easily won that game. They allowed my man to go on a tangent and act like he looked like the best player in the league last night. What's my man name?
Sexton.
Sexton.
He looked like the best player in the whole league in the last 30 minutes of the game. He scored 20 points in just overtime minutes. Mm-hmm. So he ended up with 42 on these brothers. But I'm looking at them looking like they were like Mary had a low lamb. Like, you know, nobody knew whose feet was white as snow. You know what I mean? Like they look like, you know, if you ever see sheep or herds of animals, and the first thing a human do is look for where's the shepherd? Where's the herd? Like, there's no herd. It's just wild animals out here grazing. That's what they look like. They was grazing on the hardwood. Pause. They was out there grazing on hardwood. Pause. And they couldn't decide of like, okay, you have to take over. Like somebody, that's the thing about any big three. And this is why you got it, even though like there's a debate on social media, they're trying to make LeBron situation less questionable as KD as far as going to these big three teams and making these super teams. And my thing is this: somebody has to be the killer at the end of a situation. You know, you can't worry about because you know what can happen? Three people can't shoot a shot at the same time.
Right.
It's one ball, it's one shot at a time. So knowing that, they have to sit down amongst themselves. And I mean, to me, it's simple. Whoever's having the hottest game, go ahead, man. You hot, you on fire.
Right.
You know, that's how basketball used to be played. Like we get out there and I might used to be the ball hog, but my man over here, the shooter, he hot. You know, if you watch the movie Sunset Park, I did. Drano he was hot. Give it to Drano. He always got the big shot. He was hot. So they got to figure that out. So it made them look bad that it was the first time debuting the big three. But if you look at, let's say, LeBron in Miami, one thing Wade was good at, Wade quietly dropped his 30, 35, and he don't brag about it. He make it look like it's over here. No, it's Bron's team. Bron. But when you look at the stats and you look at the game and what really happened, he did his thing. And LeBron didn't have a problem with that because LeBron loves to play like Magic. He loves to give it to the hot head. You know what I mean? Which is respect to his game.
Okay. Fig.
I knew this was going to happen, man. I knew. And piggyback on what Talon said, people say, you know, they trying to say it's like LeBron. You know, they had to figure that out, man. When they got that big three together, they just felt it was going to all come together. One thing that we know for sure is that when a big three gets together, there's always one person that's got to be the odd man out. Somebody has to be a spot up shooter. In Miami, they made that Chris Bosh was the spot up shooter in Miami. When LeBron went to Cleveland, Kevin Love became the spot up shooter. Only two guys could be ball dominant. The spot up shooter in this equation has got to be KD. He's the most efficient basketball player on that team, and KD doesn't need a lot of shots to drop a lot of points. He could be extremely effective. Kyrie and James Harden got to figure this out. What's wrong with the team is Kyrie took like 28 shots. KD had about 14. I think KD or Harden had about 14. And one of them had like 13 shots. Out of that trio, Kyrie can't be the guy taking the most of the shots. It just can't be because he's the least efficient player out of the three. Now, Kyrie's a baller. He's a monster. But if I had to pick a team and I had a chance to get KD and I had a chance to get Harden and I had a chance to get Kyrie, Kyrie would be my third pick. Okay. I wouldn't pick Kyrie first. So Kyrie can't take the most shots.
Okay,
he just can't.
Here's my question I'm going to ask, because now we're starting to see how they play together. Here's my question I'm going to ask you all about the big three. Is this the worst big three with the most potential to win, with the highest potential to win? Is this the worst big three that you've seen assemble on court? And meaning, because of what we just saw, they both, like the thing, let me use the Celtics as an example. The Celtics, when they got their big three with Garnett and Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, they all were three different types of players. It doesn't seem like that's right now with the Brooklyn Nets. So they did get a similar big three, but is this the worst, using that premise, is this the worst big three? I'm gonna start with you, Talon. Is this the worst big three assembled?
No. I think I wouldn't doubt this turning into the best big three. Again, this is game one of them all together. And I don't like to jump to early conclusions, but I think it's gonna pan out and be what it got to be. But because of obvious reasons, we watch it play out on the news. People didn't have a chance to put the cohesiveness together and become that glue yet. That glue will kick in. I think this is the game one. Very little practicing together. Kyrie just got there the day before the practice. So watch the camaraderie. And here's the thing: it's not as hard as it looked because it's really only one odd man out, and that's getting Kyrie to go. These guys play together already; they know each other. As ballers, KD and Harden played years together. They good. They know exactly what to do between them two. It's the third man that got to figure his way and change it up. It's okay. This how I can help this mix. This how I can make this complete. I disagree with Fig as far as Kyrie being the third guy, but to be honest with you, I'm going KD, Kyrie, Harden with me because Harden holds the ball too long. Harden is what they used to say about Carmelo. He stagnates in offense. He'll get the ball and hold it too long. Kyrie, he'll take his man to the rack. He'll do a fake turnaround. Like the first quarter of that game, you saw vintage Kyrie right away. Like a minute or two in the game. The little step back, the fade away, the to the rack, the jump shot, the three. I mean, he showed you everything right away. It was almost like he had something to prove. Like, yeah, I was at my sister's birthday party, but check this out. You know what I'm saying? So he just got to figure out, where do I fit in with these two friends? It's like going to a school. You're the new guy at the school. Everybody else been at the school. They know where the cafeteria at. They know where the bathroom on every floor is at. They know the mean teachers. You just got there.
Okay. All right. Fig, what you think?
I think that I had to talk to the people out there in box seats land. Talent said cohesiveness. Now you can find that next to the crazy glue and the gorilla glue at Home Depot. Cohesiveness is right there. Hey, yo, man, listen. I don't know if you realize, I agree with Talent when he said that Harden handled the ball a lot, but that was in Houston. Since Harden has gotten to Brooklyn, his assist numbers have gone up. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of assists in his game, and he hadn't been taking that many shots. Him and KD was kind of working it out. I think the numbers, I think they will work it out. I don't think this is the worst. I don't think this is the worst big three put together because, believe it or not, I think they all play three different positions. I think KD, it could be the small forward. Harden could be the point guard, and Kyrie could play the two. Kyrie could play the shooting guard because I think that Harden is the better passer between Kyrie and KD, and I think Harden, the way that he scores, he can score in so many different ways, and his size He can knock down the three, or he can take you off the dribble. You remember, Harden is the dude who gets to the foul line more than anybody else in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So he can take you off the dribble, take you to the hole, and he can knock down that shot, and he can get everybody else involved. The one good thing about all three of these dudes is they all require a double team in order, to slow them down or to stop them. I think the most effective shooter that could get the most points on the least amount of shots is Kevin Durant because of his size. He can pull up from the three. He can pull up from 30. He can take you off the dribble. He got a mid-range. He can take you to the hole. Harden could do the same thing. Kyrie is the one that needs a little more movement in order to get his shot off. He gets him off, though, but he needs a little more to be able to get his shot off. So I think Harden should play the point, Kyrie should play the two, and KD either play the small or the power forward, and I think they'll be able to work that way. But I think in the big scheme of things, one of these guys is going to have to end up playing with the second group because the bench is not deep enough in order for them to be a winning team.
Yeah, I heard that a couple of times. I don't know if that even work either. I honestly, I don't think it's the best big three, but we could debate that. The next couple of days.
I'm not saying it's the best big three. I'm just saying I don't think it's the worst.
No, I know you didn't. I know you didn't. I think it could end up being the worst, and I'm only gonna say it if they don't win. You know what I mean? If they don't win, I think it could be, and I don't think they're gonna win. I mean, I know.
Well, how do you get there, Frank, in one game? How do you get there?
I know. That's what I'm about to say. I know it's one game, but the way Kyrie plays, I just can't see them saying, because Kyrie last night, he was the reason why they lost because he was so ball dominant. I can't see him sitting there saying, yeah, I'm not gonna be as ball dominant. I'm gonna let you all be more dominant. He was too ball dominant. Like even when it got tight, he took so many shots.
Let me ask you a question. You don't think that, and you're right, but you don't think that ball dominance comes from returning to Cleveland? They did do a whole presentation for the man. You got to know that guy, that night's going to play like that.
Yeah. Listen,
I didn't even consider that. That's big. Yeah, the fact because that was his old team.
Yeah,
they honored them. Fig.
I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that at all. But again, it's about personality. I mean, we can debate about this on and on and on. It's about personality. I just don't see Kyrie being the dude when they're going to sit there and come and say, okay, Kyrie, we need you to handle the ball, but you're going to take less shots. Yeah, it was night for him. I just don't see it. I mean, and let's again, we're going to come back to this again after 10 games, after 15 games and everything else. And it's really crazy for people that, but this is what we do. We talk sports, right? This is what we do. So,
well, I'll tell you this. If Kyrie ends up taking more shots than Kevin Durant and Harden, then they're not going to win anything because he's not that dude. Because that's the same reason. That's the same reason that Kevin Durant left OKC the first time. I know people hate the fact that he went to Golden State, but the fact that he left OKC is because Russell Westbrook was taking too many shots and he wasn't that dude.
Yeah, and we all see how Russell Westbrook is doing now without him. So let's talk about the Celtics game last night. They lost to the Sixers. There was a funny thing. The Celtics lost to the Sixers. Here, I watched the game. It's really a tough game, of course, without Tatum, for the Celtics. But something came out of that game last night that made me go, well, you know what? This could be a good question I'm going to have to ask the fellas. And the question is, fellas, is Joel Embiid too soft? Because Marcus Smart said he does a whole lot of flailing in the game, and he does it every time the Celtics play. He flails with everything. He said, Marcus Smart said, you tap the dude, he flies 5 to 7 feet, and he be flailing, everything else, and he's way too soft. And Marcus Smart basically called him out there. I don't know if it was gamemanship. I don't know if they were just trying to make fun of each other. I don't know. But I thought about it. I was like, you know what? To be as big as he is kind of soft. So I'm going to ask you, Talent. He's a big man, everything else. Is he too soft? Does he play too soft? What you think?
Why does it take for Marcus Smart for you to say, think about it? I've been telling y'all that from a year now. I've said that. I said that from day one. He saw this thing. Nah, Joe Embiid's dope. Nah, Joe Embiid. When we was talking about potential trades, y'all was talking about how dope he was and how important he was. And I was telling you, bruh, it's Big Soft. That's his nickname, the Big Soft. You should do a commercial with the My Pillow guy. You know the My Pillow guy? He should do a commercial with the My Pillow guy. He's been soft. I don't know how many ways I could say it. Fluffy, goose down. acrylic. The man been soft. To be a big dude and play that position, you know he's soft. Here's the thing you got to look at in basketball. When you're a big guy, you're a big man, and you're in that 7-foot club, if you don't start out down low, you can end up top. But you got to at least fake the funk and start out down low. That brother starts out up top.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to say it like this, and I don't care who do what and who it fit. If you're a grown-ass man and the only position you love when you're making love is missionary, kill yourself. You soft.
This talent with the analogy. What you think, Vic?
I gotta think about that. Oh man. Yeah, man, the thing I'm trying to say is, look, Joel Embiid plays soft, but I want to say is this. I say it's the new NBA flopping. I hate when big men flop. That annoys me to no end, because I'm from the old school of basketball with the Patrick Ewings, the Lonzo Mourning, the Charles Oakley, the Anthony Masons. Like when big men, they wasn't having it. I can't take the flopping. That's why when people say LeBron flops and stuff like that annoys me. Not the fact that LeBron flops because he's a big man and he flops. I hate big men flopping. Now, if you Chris Paul, you know what I mean, or Steph Curry, or you one of the smaller guys in the league and you flop, then it's still annoying, but it's not as annoying. Do I think Joel Embiid is soft? I don't know. He plays in a softer NBA. I think the NBA today is a little softer than it was back in the 80s and the 90s. And he plays a softer brand of basketball. But if you can be soft and drop 40 some odd points, I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right.
If you're on my team and you're a big man and you're playing soft and you can still drop over 40 points, I'm going to be like, he's off, but he's winning. And the last thing, I think by the time the playoffs start, I think Doc Rivers will have him down in the paint, dominating and destroying smaller players. I think by the time the playoffs start, Doc Rivers will convince him to go down in the paint.
Doc Rivers already convinced him of that last night. I mean, you could see it in the game. Like he was shooting more down low than he was up top. You know what I mean? I guess the thing is, we all will find out right now what Joel Embiid will be and everything else. But I think the game has changed now. We all get disgusted by it, but the game has changed when people are flopping to draw fouls. That's basically, and it's too much.
Absolutely.
It's too much.
There's a reason why Fig is not a GM or a coach. The graveyard of retired and ex-NBA players is full of 40.9 ring having Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't trade in and trade up what gets championships and winning because of the points of somebody's capability. There's a slew of cats we can name right now can give you 40 a game. But franchises are in the business of trying to win because that's where their revenue and profit lies. You can't, he's soft. For him, if he was tough, and I understand it's in the NBA, if Embiid was tough, he would give you championships. I guarantee you. His size, his potential and agility and ability, that man hands down would get you championships. But because he's getting away with it, nobody's smacking him and saying, toughen up. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's saying what Fig is saying. Hey, man, he gave us 40 and 10 last night. Yeah, with a loss. We still got knocked out the first round. Oh, but good game, though. That gets you nothing. You got to bank on wins. And if you see yourself trending away from the winning team, because we've watched it for the last 2-3 seasons straight, we know the potential of this guy. But is he soft is the question. Look at that big-ass question on the bottom in blue and white. Is Joel Embiid soft? How could you answer that with anything other than yes?
I don't know. I just think, listen, I'll put it to you this way. I think Joel Embiid could dominate the league from the paint if he decides to do that. But right now, the way things are, it's different. Look, AD is a 7-footer that shoots 3-pointer from the mid-range better. There's no way he would have did that in the old league. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I think Joel Embiid could be dominant like Shaq. I really do. I think that when the playoffs hit, he will become that dude. But what do you do when you got a big man that's unguardable, not only in the paint, but he's he's unguardable from the outside too. That's what AD was. AD wasn't banging the paint. Last year when they won the championship, Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee was down low, and they let Anthony Davis shoot from the outside. And I think he's a big dude, and he's supposed to be in the paint. And I think if your team is winning, only if your team is winning, then you could be a big man to shoot from the outside. But if y'all start to losing and you're not winning, then what you need to do as a big man, you need to go down in the paint and you need to dominate the paint, because I believe that's where you're most effective. You know me, I like my big men in the paint all day, every day. I don't want you taking 3-pointers. Even if you can make them, I don't want you taking 3-pointers. I want you in the paint, knocking people out, dunking on them, and intimidating them so the point that they don't want to come down there no more.
That's what I rebounds. And getting rebounds, offensive rebounds.
And getting rebounds, yes. Yeah. And blocking shots, or at least intimidating shots. That's what I like my big men to do. Yeah, I don't like soft players.
That's what you like your big men to do?
All right, let's move the show on. My next question.
Pause.
My next question we're gonna ask you guys. We'll switch to the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers is talking a lot, and ESPN did a little blurb on him right now. They were talking about his future in the NFL. I'm gonna ask you, Talon, do you think Aaron Rodgers finishes his career? We know he's gonna be MVP this season. Do you think he finishes his career in Green Bay?
If I had to guess, I'm gonna say no. And the only reason I'm gonna say no, not that there's any reason he shouldn't. The only reason that he wouldn't is on the Packers. I think that the Packers and Aaron Rodgers are not going to agree on where he is in life. I think that win, lose, or draw this year, Aaron Rodgers in his mind got probably 3 to 4 more years before he think of retiring. At least thinking of it. I think in the Packers' mind, they thinking, depending on how this go, might be this year. So I think that, let's say, I'm gonna knock on wood because I got money and I hope it don't go this way. But let's say he don't get the championship this year, he don't get the Super Bowl. They're gonna be looking at it like, okay, the future. Let's look at the future, which he's still looking at the future as being him. And I think they're gonna clash on that, especially with a loss. They're gonna clash on that, and he's gonna go find a team because Aaron Rodgers is playing at such a level in the league that if they don't show him the appreciation he wants, it's so many teams he can go get it. He can go get it. Now, if he gets the chip, either way, I think is going to clash. It's the difference in clashing right now and tomorrow. And that's the difference in winning the championship. Crashing right immediately or tomorrow or the next day. And I think with the chip, if you get the chip, even if he wants to leave, he goes shopping. It's different type of shopping. Like when I'm hanging with certain chicks, they don't care what mall I take them to. But then I get that bougie chick. She gonna talk about, don't take me to the Galleria. I need to go to Scottsdale or something like that. And I'm like, you must got your own money. So I think Aaron Rodgers, if he wins, he's going to be spending his money. But if he loses, they're going to be checking for their money and how they're going to spend it.
Now, of course, Big, I'm sure you have something you want to say, add to that. But let's just do a quick note there that did you check out the analogy from Talent? That analogy from Talent that we got to talk about that later. But anyway, what's your thoughts? He said he equated Aaron Rodgers to a chick in the mall. But go ahead, man. Go ahead, Big.
Yeah. The Galleria or Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I think the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers. I hate that name. Pause. Anyway, I think they spent. I think they messed up with Aaron Rodgers already. I really do. I think they burnt that bridge when they drafted his replacement over somebody that can help him win, over possibly some more receivers or a different running back or something. Like they really didn't load Aaron Rodgers up with weapons. Aaron Rodgers is what, 37?
Yeah.
I mean, players like Drew Brees just retired. What was he like? 42?
Yep.
42 years old. Tom Brady is 43. You think to yourself, with the way that Aaron Rodgers throws the ball, the talent that he has, the gifted passer that he is, that he serviceably, if he wants to, has a good 5 years left. So to get a quarterback 6 years ahead of when Aaron Rodgers will probably be on a decline, I think Green Bay burnt that bridge, and I think that Aaron Rodgers will probably be looking for greener pastures, no pun intended, after this season, win or lose, because they already got his replacement, and I don't think he's under contract beyond this year. I think he could leave. Yeah, and if I was him, I would. You know what I mean? You pushing me out the door, let me go. I want to go where I'm appreciated.
He got a contract for one more season, and after that, he's out. But
I'm still laughing at he said he hates the name Green Bay. It sounds like a horrible porno, right? It sounds like it involves leprechauns. The Green Bay Packers.
That's a whole other thing. But it's time to bring my man, Mr. Rodney Perry, in with his segment.
Always after the Lucky Charms.
I disagree. Rodney Perry, how you doing today, brother? And I'm sure you got a lot that you could agree or disagree with. So you got to.
That's very fun.
You listen up, you listen good. I'm sitting here listening to y'all through the show, and it just turned my stomach. Started off with ramifications. Then we double back on the Drano analogy, and now here we are with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packathon. All right, let's go back to the top. The great Sigmund Freud said, "Let's put the whole NBA in the bubble." Well, why don't we bubble up the whole United States, Fig? Why don't we do that? Let's just bubble everybody. Why we got to stop at the NBA? Who want to come in the bubble? Come here. The question is the Nets big three. Nets big three, very simple. And Frank, I love you, brother. But your questions is premature like a young man and they never had none. You ain't never had that. You be like, oh, this is wonderful. You're a little premature in evaluating these guys. A little premature. Kyrie ain't even been playing in 2 weeks. Will they figure out? Probably. How are they going to figure it out? This is where KD has to be something he's never been. I'm gonna take it off I'm gonna take it off Kyrie, and I'm gonna take it off James Harden. This is KD's time to be the man. Right? When KD was at OKC, he yielded. He let Westbrook run around crazy, dribbling the ball and dunking on people. The problem ain't Westbrook as a guard, it's Westbrook as a ball handler kicking the damn ball out of bounds.
True.
Now it's time for KD to be a leader, to run a team, to tell these dudes, hey, dog, take the shot. You move. You need KD to be the man in this system. You can't give them dudes a chance. Like, I'll give you a great analogy. When my baby mama and my wife was getting into it, they kept getting into it until I said, hey, stop this shit. And that day, everything fell in line.
Yes, sir.
Somebody has to be the man. And that man has to be KD. It can't be Kyrie. It can't be James Harden. Ramifications. The great talent Harris took it to his analogy to another level. He used himself in an analogy. It's just like back when I was in the movie Sunset Park. You gave the ball to Drano because that's what the script said, talent. What no discussion? It ain't we three actors. Hey, who wants the last shot? The script says Drano gets the shot. That's why the man name is Drano. Are they the worst big three? Are they poison? Look, to be honest, nobody expects them to win their first year together. Nobody. If they do, it's amazing, but they ain't better than nobody in the West. Mm-hmm. They might beat up on the Celtics. They might beat up on Joel Embiid and them. But when it's time to head out there, it's crazy out west. And let's not even talk about how many people defected to the East. Remember, everybody was talking about the East. When LeBron's in the East is weak. Guess what? LeBron go to West. Everybody go back to the East. Don't get me started. Y'all was talking about that Kyrie was ball dominant. I'm gonna tell you something. Rodney Perry is ball dominant. That's why I got 6 kids. Right, I'm ball dominant. Call the man Big Softy. Big mush. Big comforter. Is the man soft? Well, everybody's soft.
Oh God.
It's a softer, gentler NBA. Okay.
Oh God.
What it is, get used to it. Get used to people flopping. People flops. You ain't even got to be around them. People flop. And finally, will Aaron Rodgers retire in the Green Bay jersey? I say yes. I say yes. I had a friend of mine, he played for the Green Bay Packers. He said it was the best organization in the NFL, I'm sorry. He said it was the absolute best organization he ever been a part of, and that they treat their players like gold.
You said Green Bay Tigers. Who's the
whatever?
Green Bay
Tigers, you know what I mean.
You know, the left can form.
Now all of a sudden you can see better than everybody. Okay, so be it.
I thought he was talking about a little league.
Aaron Rodgers will remain in the Green Bay Packer uniform into his retirement. If he ended up anywhere else, I can't see him go. I'd like to know where. I can't say where I would like to see him go. He's never gonna wear a Bear uniform. He bet not go to the Jets.
Cowboys.
The dysfunctional Cowboys?
Yeah, his old coach. Yeah, I think he'll go to his old coach. That's one of my earlier Pelican briefs. That's one of my earlier Pelican briefs. One of my first. Well, it's stupider now than it was when you first said it. My name is Rodney Perry, and I disagree. I want you all out there watching the show. Make sure you write down these times because
write it down.
Write it down because
Frank and Talent said that.
No, I remember Frank said it, and it made all the sense in the world because you got to look at the other side of it, not just the Aaron Rodgers side, the Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones side. With that looking so shaky and Jerry cheap ass, I see it happening. Mm-hmm. Instead of giving somebody a guap of money for a long extended contract, and I can grab an Aaron Rodgers for 2-3 year sign on, I see it. It could happen.
Yeah,
it could happen.
Not to mention Aaron Rodgers, that right pigmentation to have that money to come through right now, and he would come in with a whole lot of accolades. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I could see that happening. I could see that happening.
I'm gonna tell you why y'all should not disagree with yourself. I'm gonna tell you why. That both y'all, because Fig agrees with y'all.
We wait.
Hold on, Rodney.
Oh, timeout, commercial. Hold up. The only thing I agree with is that Aaron Rodgers got the pigmentation for Jerry Jones to back up the Brinks truck. That's what I agree with.
So you think that Aaron Rodgers gonna finish in a Packer uniform? Well, let's say that. Forget that. Is he gonna end up in Dallas?
It's a good possibility. It's a good possibility. If the Dak Prescott thing falls,
as long as Fig is unsure, y'all safe.
But hold up, you mean to tell me y'all gonna put my ramification under investigation, but he could say pigmentation?
Definitely.
Ain't nobody said anything about it? Nothing?
It is a fact.
He got the complexion.
I give you complexion, but pigmentation?
Let's get the show.
I'm ball dominant. I know that.
I don't know.
He is. He said he got how many kids he got? He ball dominant.
6.
He got.
And
Frank,
I ain't salt, and I go missionary.
You can always count on Rodney, man.
I like to look at my lady's face.
All right, let me ask the next question.
Face in the mirror, then it don't matter.
Let me ask the next question, since I got all y'all on here. Will Patrick Mahomes play? Because right now we all thought it was a no-brainer that he was going to play. The NFL has said what they said this morning. It hasn't been a shoot-in that he's going to play. He's still going through concussion protocol and everything else. And I posed this question. What was it, the day before yesterday? I was like, yeah, of course he's going to play and everything else. But he still didn't get the green light to play. So I'm going to start with you, Rodney Perry. You think Patrick Mahomes is going to play officially?
I was saying that he would absolutely play, but I mean that concussion protocol is real, and if he falls under those guidelines, then that you guys gonna have to figure it out without him. I don't even know who the backup is.
Henny, backup Chad Henny. Yeah. Chad Henny.
His family owns Hennessy.
Who?
Yeah, you see exactly. Yeah, I get your point.
Hennessy.
Exactly. So I mean, if Henny can keep it together one playoff game, that would be dope. But I mean, it don't look good for Kansas City, and they've been barely winning with him.
Right. Yeah, and then on top of that, Patrick Mahomes got a toe issue. He got concussion protocol. They might still lose even if he does play. You
want to give a shot at Henny, or you want to give Henny a shot? Let me explain something to you. Here's the thing. It's all bullshit, people. It's all bullshit. This is part of the game so that you have the other team not fully prepared. If you can, the same way we think, oh my God, is he going to play? If I can get the other team to think like that, I can catch them on their heels not fully prepared because they start to prepare for a backup or if they play a chief team without Mahomes. Mahomes is playing. Don't you think for one damn, I don't give a damn about a concussion. The motherfucker come up, excuse my French, he could come up with spina bifida tomorrow. He playing. He's not going to miss no big-ass game like this. I don't care what happened to him. If Drew Brees could come back and play with half a rib, a McRib, Drew Brees played with a McRib for weeks. You think this dude going to bump his head, have a concussion, miss like a quarter or two of the game, and you think he's going to miss championship game, the game that determines the Super Bowl? Y'all crazy as hell.
Okay. I can't even disagree with that. What you think, Fig?
I think first off, Henny's nickname in the locker room is Hen Dog, and I think that Henny, with all those weapons on KC offense and defense, I think that they could win. But I'm gonna tell you this. Let me tell you how much I know that Patrick Mahomes is gonna play. And I don't care what they say. You can cut his head off and leave it in the trunk of the car. They gonna put his helmet on his shoulders and they gonna push him out there to play. You understand what I'm saying? That's how much I know Patrick Mahomes is playing. And he had no. They could cut his foot off like they did Kunta Kinte and Roots. He gonna be playing that game. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, a head injury, foot injury, leg injury. I don't care what kind of injury they got. They got to roll him out there in a wheelchair with no head and one foot. He playing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here's my next question, and I want to, if we don't have time to finish this question, I want to definitely continue this question on tomorrow. My next question is, why is Eric Bieniemy still unhired? Eric Bieniemy, for you all out there who sitting at home and don't know, he is the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator and has been an offensive coordinator for the last 4 years. And most importantly, the last 3 years that Patrick Mahomes has been there. You know what I mean? He's the guy who had a lot to do with Patrick Mahomes starting. He's the guy who helped put that offensive, firepower, that whole offensive side of the ball together. He's very instrumental in that. But the biggest thing is I think people are not even paying attention to is before Patrick Mahomes was there, everything else, it was Alex Smith. The Chiefs were very dangerous there. Eric Bieniemy was still the offensive coordinator. So do you think he doesn't have a head coaching job challenge just because he's black? I mean, or is there something else we're not seeing?
I think it could be one or two things. There's only one or two things. One thing is maybe he's gotten some calls and offers that he wasn't too crazy about. That's for one. And he's waiting for the right thing. It ain't no different than a real solidified actor. You don't jump at every script. Something got to jump out to him. You go, I'm going to do that film. I'm going to do that project. So maybe that's the one thing. The other main thing, which is even more important and detrimental to him, is maybe in the eyes of the outside world, he doesn't get the credit for that offense. Sometimes you can put together, I call it like the great player syndrome. Everybody who has a great player, sometimes the coach or coordinator doesn't get the accolades and the player does. Remember how we have this argument coach-player thing? And a lot of the times that happens. So I don't care what coach is coaching LeBron, he's not going to really get the credit. It's going to always go to LeBron. Same thing with, it started right after the whole Bird Magic era. Now the great players get more of the credit than the coordinator or the coach who's coaching them because they're expected to win. So when you look at an offense like Kansas City, they always was winning. They had a decent team, decent playoff runs and everything. But perfect example was you got Andy Reid, who came over from Philly, who has he was doing this blue collar rough thing in Philly. And for some reason, when he got to the Chiefs, he became a more conservative coach. He would kick your ass for 3.5 quarters and then get hold the ball in the fourth quarter, and they would lose all these tight games and big games, playoffs, conference games, division games. And I think he's a victim of this. I think Eric Bieniemy is a victim of not getting the credit of the high-powered offense. I think everything goes to Mahomes and all those key individual players. I don't think everybody's looking at him like that.
I got to say,
and the ones who are, he probably don't want to go.
I got to say, if I'm Houston Texans, I call him immediately. The minute that the Bill O'Brien I fired him, I don't even wait. I call him immediately. And I said, listen, I would say we have a head coaching job position for you right now. You got Deshaun Watson, and then you got all these draft picks. I'll even let you get some GM type of, if I'm them, because you know what I mean? That's what I would do. But Fig, what's your thought?
Frank, it's Texas. They ain't have no black coach in Texas. Are you out of your mind? Houston, Texas, with a black coach? They wouldn't have no fans. It's Texas, for God's sakes. And that's why Bieniemy ain't getting no calls. He's a bad boy. Everybody under Bill Belichick got a call. They got a head coaching job. You under Bill Belichick, you getting a call. You responsible for Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl, something like that, you getting a phone call. Eric Bieniemy is a black man. He's a stocky black man with round. He is the stereotypical looking black man with a lot of sense and a lot of brains and a lot of talent. And the only reason he ain't getting the call is because his face is brown and he looks like a stereotypical black man. because anybody, you see the kind of offense that they have in Kansas City, and this guy is responsible for it because God knows it ain't the head coach. Andy Reid didn't have that kind of offense in when he was in Philly. That is Eric Bieniemy's offense right there. And if you want a potent offense on your squad and you want a head coach to head that up, Eric Bieniemy is the dude to call. He really is. And I told him in Houston. As a matter of fact, Deshaun Watson told him that he want give Eric Bieniemy a shot, and they ain't give him no shot. And that's another reason why he wants to leave. It's the culture in Houston. Eric Bieniemy ain't getting no shot in Houston. It would be wise. It would have been wise to call him a long time ago before they burnt the bridge with Deshaun Watson.
Okay, all right. That's the show, y'all. That's the show. We got to get ready to wrap this up. Talent, tell everybody out there how they can follow you all. How they can follow you, bro.
I'll be in Texas. Hit me at Texas.com. No, I'm just playing.
You better not go to Texas.
And It's Just Comedy. Talent the Comedian on IG and King Talent Harris on Facebook. It's crazy.
Go ahead, Fig.
You can follow your boy Comedian Fig, all social media platforms of Comedian Fig. And if you can't get there, baby, you can always find me on the box seats Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Baby, I'm always here. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Be here or be square. The hottest show. Period.
That's the show called The Box Seats. I'm Frank Holder. That's Talent. That's Fig. I got to thank Rodney Perry for joining the show, too. We are on the channel called The Humor Mill. We are on every day from Monday through Friday. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. We are on Humor Mill channel. The show's called Box Seats. We'll be back tomorrow. And next week, we got some guests. All that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to finish up this conversation tomorrow. Interesting conversation. We got some more to add. And of course, tomorrow's our picks. It's the NFC, AFC Wild, NFC, AFC Championship weekend. We got to talk about all that and then some, and have top dogs too. All that. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Take it easy.